Hello everyone, welcome to the Comic Game and Movie Show. My name is Deshaun, and today I am here to give you my review of the new Netflix series, A Haunting at Hill House. This will be my Halloween special. I'll come out with another video, review today of Castlevania Season 2 a little later on, but Hill House came out first, and I'll binge through it. It was 10 episodes. It's great. I loved A Haunting on Hill House. Now, A Haunting on Hill House is about this family called the Crane family, who moved in this house called Hill House, to renovate it and sell it. And I would say, I don't think they really, I'd say they really are ambiguous about the time period it takes place, but I'd say maybe in the 1980s. I'd say they moved into this house in 1980s. But the show takes place in modern day, but it has flashbacks to the events of this, because this is a unique way to tell a ghost story, because it's less about the ghosts and them being in the house. It's not the typical ghost story of the family moves in. No, it is. It isn't. It is the typical story of the family moving into a house. It turned out that it's haunted, and then bada bing, bada boom, shit goes wrong, and they survive it. But that's not what the show's. But that's just the core of the show. The majority of the show takes place out of that house. The majority of the show takes place 20, 30 years later, and all of the kids who were with the family are grown up, and I'm not going to spoil anything, and all the kids are grown up, and they all kind of, from their experiences in the house, have mental problems in different ways. The main character, I would say that the main character is Stephen Crane, who is the oldest brother, who claims that he didn't see anything. So he's not taking it serious. So he kind of thinks the rest of his family are crazy and think that they were just seeing shit that wasn't there. And also, he ends up writing a book about the events that happened in the house. Now, I'm not going to spoil the events that happened in the house. You'll have to watch the show and see. Just know it involves ghosts and someone dies. But he writes a book about it because he doesn't think that it is that big of a deal. He doesn't believe in ghost stories, which is the irony of the entire show. Is he doesn't believe in ghost stories. And I'm gonna move the mic a little closer. He doesn't believe in ghost stories, yet his entire family does. But they're all in this weird state of denial. For instance, minor spoiler: there's 5 kids. There's Steve, the oldest. He has 2 younger sisters, and there's 2 twins who are a boy and a girl. The twins, ironically, I've had it the worst because they're all messed up. They all go to certain classes of psychology to see psychologists. One of the boys is into drugs and shit to deal with the shit that he's seen and deal with the shit that he still may see. And all of them are all levels of fucked up in different ways. One of the daughters can't really touch people because she can feel shit, and she's afraid to touch things because of what happened to her. Another daughter is kind of cold to death, and she works in a mortuary, and she has a hard time dealing with this shit. And the most fucked up of all is the father, who they all kind of hate on a different level, because it's explained very early on that something happened to their mother. And the father won't talk about it. The father won't even talk about what happened in the house. The father won't talk about anything. In fact, he kind of pushed them off and just to protect them. You know how that goes. The father protecting the children, and the children hating him later in life because he didn't explain what was going on or why he was doing what he was doing. But which makes this show interesting is it does the traditional storytelling of a ghost story perfectly, but it does, without a shadow of a doubt, subtle horror perfectly. And if you don't know what subtle horror is, to me there's different levels in horror. There's slasher movies. There's kind of jump scares. There's kind of gross out horror. From movies like The Thing or something like that. There's shocking, but lately in Hollywood, movies with Lights Out and movies I'm trying to think of some other movies. A lot of horror movies have gone with that's the new way to do it. Even Annabelle Creation did this pretty well. Not did pretty well. It did it okay. But when it worked, it worked. It's subtle horror, that creepy sensation in the back of your neck that you know something is wrong, but you don't notice it until it's too late. They have scenes sometimes, I'm not going to spoil where they are, but this is kind of a minor spoiler, where there's a person there that you never even notice because you're just okay, this is a normal day, and then there's a person there, And then you'll be talking, one of the characters will be talking to that person, or walk past that person, or make eye contact with that person. It's not that big of a deal. Until later on, someone goes, we looked at the camera footage. There was no one there. Subtle horror. They do the subtle horror. They do things like that. They do things like just the shift in the music. There's the shift in lighting. The visuals are amazing. Some of the most gorgeous horror visuals. Like, sometimes nothing actually even, like, nothing attacks them or it's a jump scare. It's just a visual of something that is just creepy. The show tries to unsettle you. The show tries to make you uncomfortable. The show tries to make you think. This is the kind of show that you watch. I'm not the kind of guy who gets scared very easily. I wasn't scared watching the show. I had moments where I was a little nervous. I was a little scared. But the subtleness of the horror kind of brought a shiver down my spine a little bit. Because it's that type of horror where it's like, that could be happening to you and you would never even know it. You know what I mean? Like that's how horror gets me. That's how I get scared of horror. Only horror that can scare me is shit where it's like, that could be me and I wouldn't even know it. Like, this could actually happen to me and I wouldn't even know it. A spirit in the background just watching you but not actually doing anything, that could be happening. Like walking past a guy who you've been talking to, like your neighbor. Imagine that, your neighbor. Like, that's kind of horror that does. Imagine you're talking to your neighbor. You see this neighbor every day, all the time, and for some reason, and then like you don't see him for a little bit. Then you start seeing him again, and then like all of a sudden, the daughter of that neighbor comes home, and you're just like, "How's your dad?" And she's like, "What are you talking about? My dad died 10 days ago." And you're like, "Well, I've been seeing him these past 10 days. Come outside." Imagine that. That's the kind of horror this show builds up. It's the creepy, subtle. You don't know to be scared. And that is beautiful. You don't know to be scared until you're watching it, until it's like, oh, fuck. But the most fascinating thing is this house, Hill House. Okay, it's a haunting on Hill House, so you know the house is haunted. But this house, there's something special about this house. I don't know if it's on a devil mount or something, but there is something going on with this house. I don't know what. I don't know why. But this house is special. This house, there's a part of this house that, minor alert, can temporarily alter reality. Like, the house is alive. The house is alive. Like, I'm not going to tell you much more than that, but the house is alive. The little details in the middle, but I will say this. All the characters are great. All the characters are nuanced. All the characters are interesting. You understand the kid's frustration. You understand the father's frustration. You understand how they got to be kind of all this mentally screwed up that they were. It's and like the thing that this does better than almost any I'll say any horror movie, any horror thing I've seen in a while, other than like maybe Stranger Things, but I kind of consider that more of a sci-fi thing. The thing that this show did better than any other show is you rooted for the kids. You wanted the kids, you wanted the father, you wanted everyone to make it out of this. And sometimes horror movies and their pursuit to make characters interesting can accidentally make them annoying, can accidentally make them intolerable, can accidentally make them characters you don't even care who live or die. But in this case, I cared about these characters. I understood why they all felt the way they felt. I was hoping for the best for them. They're all flawed, which is great. There is no innocent people. The closest thing to innocent is the youngest daughter. But I loved Haunted on Hill House. I give a haunting on Hill House a 9. I give it a solid 9. It's not the greatest thing I've ever seen, but it executes everything the way it's supposed to be executed. It does this awesome thing where it takes where a lot of the story takes place outside of the haunted house, but the haunting never stops because I ain't gonna get into it, but the haunting never stops. So I give Haunting on Hill House, I give it a solid, I give it a solid 9. It's a solid 9. It's a great show. I can't wait to see what they do with it. Once you finish it, tell me what you think below, what they're gonna do with it, because I was worried about that when they were doing this show and I heard about this show. I was like, well, it's one haunted area, unless they're like ghost hunters. And it was like, how do you extend this to multiple seasons? But we'll see. Comment below. What did you think? How you feel? Did you enjoy Haunting on Hill House? I loved it. Comment below. Please remember to like and subscribe. And have a happy Halloween, people. Be safe out there. It's a bunch of crazy things. But kids, have fun. If you're listening to this, please don't, because I curse a lot. But thank you for joining me on the Comedy Game Movie Show. I will see you in the next one. Everyone have a blessed day.